So we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm just glad to be able to come together again here on the screen and from wherever you're located and whatever's going on, we're leaving that all behind and coming together to explore mindfulness, meditation, what our minds are up to get to know ourselves a little bit better and what's going on up here in this, well, not up here, but this whole mind-body complex here that sometimes is really pleasant and sometimes is not so pleasant. And we're going to continue the investigation today. So glad you could join in. So we'll start as we often do with a kind of a grounding meditation and to really land here from the whole process of clicking and screens and everything else. So this is your chance to kind of let all of that go and come inward and just check in with this mind and this body right here, right now. So feeling the support of whatever you're being supported by, whether it's a chair, or a couch, or the floor, or your bed, wherever you are, feeling that support, helping to hold the body up. So we don't feel like we have to make a major exertion to be present physically. But also inviting the spine to be as long as is possible, just the invitation for a little bit of alertness to the spine, which brings the brain and the whole nervous system a little bit more online. So that uprightness, the length of the spine to any amount, but also a sense of relaxation. Closing the eyes if you're comfortable, but if not comfortable closing your eyes, just not looking around all over the place, to allow yourself to kind of let go of all the visual stimulation, come inwards and bringing the awareness into this mind, resting in this body. And I'll ring the bell to start the meditation. And with the fading of the sound of the bell, letting go of all that talking, the arriving, worrying about a posture, and just inviting the mind to be aware of how it is right now. What's the general mood of the mind? Is it still racing around with the process of arriving, or is it settling in? Is it going to sleep? Going comatose? Just noticing the mood of the mind, overall attitude. I'm not judging it, good or bad. It's just like this. And then noticing the overall energy level of the body. How is it right now? Is it calm, comfortable, relaxed? Is it collapsing? Is there some sense of restlessness or discomfort somewhere? We just notice the general sense of the body, how it is. Again, not judging, just noticing it's like this right now. And maybe as you're noticing that it's changing, even as you're observing it. Maybe it's not the body as one thing, but you're noticing multiple things. So we can notice that too. So this awareness of how it is right here, right now, that's our basic mindfulness practice. In this moment, what's happening? What's the mind aware of? And how does that affect kind of the mood or the response of the mind? Is it at ease or is there some tension? And again, we're not trying to make any kind of perfection out of this. We're just being aware of how it is. So how is it? This mind, mood, this body. So we can start with an overall sense of the body, as I just invited. And then maybe you can notice some more specific things about the body. Maybe you notice sensations. Maybe you notice the sensation of the body, the pressure of it against whatever is supporting you, maybe on your feet or maybe on your hips and thighs if you're sitting in a chair. You feel pressure points. And then you can just keep the attention on the body and just notice whatever sensations the mind becomes aware of in the body. So a sensation might be just the sound of my voice or the sound of something happening in the background. That's a sensation being received by the body. Or maybe it's an itch or a feel of the air across the skin or the beat of the heart, or the feel of the breath coming in and out, or restlessness somewhere, or a strong sensation. Just moment to moment, this awareness, this knowing mind can be aware of this body, this experience right here. And you'll notice it probably will change what its focus is. Maybe the heartbeat calls out and a sound calls out. And oh yes, a thought may show up, or 2 thoughts or 10 thoughts. And we can notice those and just let them move on, not get caught by them. What else is there? There's a sound, the breath, the heartbeat, the feet on the floor, pressure. Can we just stay interested in this moment to moment experience, knowing what's happening each moment? And you may notice that the mind has gone off thinking because this is too boring, or maybe it's gone to sleep because this is really too boring, not interesting enough. Or maybe you are just watching things come and go, each sensation, the changing things that the mind is aware of. Or maybe the changing nature of the breath, breathing in, breathing out. Can we be interested in this experience? Can the mind stay curious, like what's happening right here? Noticing what is the mind paying attention to? Is it lost in thought? Is it caught on a particular body sensation? Or is it just observing what's coming and going and maybe feeling a little restless? So we can notice what the mind tunes into, or in the case of sleepiness, tunes out of. Just noticing the habits here. So we're getting to know ourselves. What does the mind pay attention to? And what's the effect on the mind? Does it stay interested? Does it get lost in thought? Or does it get bored? Is there agitation or is there relaxation? So just keep checking in what's happening moment to moment. How the mind and body receive that moment to moment experience, how they react to it. Noticing what the mind's paying attention to, how that affects the mood of the mind, sensation in the body, the sense of being in the body. So moment to moment, we get to know ourselves and how we relate to experience better to better. Can we get interested in ourselves? This isn't self-centeredness, this is self-knowledge. Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant what's happening right now? Are we bored? Or are we content? The sensation, the sound, this thought, this breath, this heartbeat coming and going. If you find the mind wandering, you could just bring it to a specific place in the body or to the breath, the ever-changing nature of the breath, breathing in, the pause, and then breathing out, and the pause. It's happening right here. And checking in again to notice what the overall sense is of the mood of the mind. Is it relaxed? Is it agitated? Is it the same as when we first started out, or has it changed in some way? And again, not judging, we're just noticing. And the sense of the body hasn't been moving, hasn't been stirred up a lot. Is it relaxed, or maybe the lack of movement has made it feel restless? We can just notice that too. So how is it right now in this moment? And however it is, can this be okay? Whatever it is, can we just be with it? And knowing if we do this enough that it's going to change in a moment anyway. Can we just be with this? So this experience right here, right now, mind observing what's happening, knowing the effect of it on the mind and the body. Each moment we're learning something. And then the next moment something else happens and we learn all over again. Cause and effect. To get to know ourselves, our experience, our moods, and importantly, what leads to ease and what leads to tension. This is our practice, moment to moment. So bring the awareness back to more of a surface, kind of bring about being aware of this full body present in this room, wherever you are, the sense of the space around you. When you're comfortable, you can open your eyes and come back together here. But also just take a moment to reflect on what your experience was during that. Or I should say experiences, probably it changed over time. Did you learn anything about the habits of the mind and the body? And then you can let that go and knowing it's all going to change again anyway. um, and we can, I'll introduce something for you to play around with in the next meditation. And a couple of weeks ago, and it seems like we keep coming back to this over and over again. We talked something about, are we being pushed around by things? And that's really what seems to happen in life. We're pushed around by the mood of the person that we're with. Their energy affects our energy, or the mood of our own mind. We start moving into a negative mind state and it just sucks us right in. Or we get agitated and worrying about planning something, or or nervous, or there's a pain that just won't go away and we're pushed around by that. We can't let it go. All the time we're being, seemingly pushed around by all these forces. And what you may have noticed in that last meditation, or what I hope maybe we'll explore in the next one, is just what happens if we can just notice things that are happening moment to moment without getting caught up in them. And if we get caught, that's how we get pushed around, right? But can we just notice what's happening and be aware of the effect of it, but without being overly reactive to it?Maybe it would be a way to, that sense of being pushed around, the energy of, if you think of something that you want to do, you can feel yourself kind of leaning into it. So there's a wanting, or you're thinking about what you're going to have for lunch and you're already mentally opening the refrigerator door, you're leaning into that next experience. Or maybe something that came up, either a body sensation or a thought that you didn't like, you want to, so there's a sense of pushing something away, wanting to get away from something. Or if there's a lot of sleepiness, the sense of there's nothing of interest here. And so just this collapsing, or maybe even just the body just feels exhausted and it just kind of sucks us down. So we're kind of, instead of being pushed, we're actually being like sucked into drowsiness, or sucked into like a collapsing of the whole body energy. But sometimes, that feels like not very often, sometimes we're just like right in the middle of it all and we're not really pushed around, right? Where we know what's going on. And we know, this might be really pleasant or it might be unpleasant, but we know that this is how it is right now. And we don't let what's happening kind of affect what our next reaction is to it. So rather than being pushing around, we're being steady. We're staying stable or steady, kind of the still point in our experience of life. And so we don't feel like we're being jostled around, so it takes a little bit less mental and emotional energy, I've found anyway. But it's an interesting thing to explore. And in Buddhism, and I'm guessing also in the Vedantic tradition, the Hindu tradition, the word that's used to describe what I've been talking about is Vedana, Vedana, which means feeling tone. So it doesn't mean emotion, it just means the overall sense or feeling of what this experience is right now. So is it pleasant, or is it unpleasant, or is it kind of right in the middle and we're neutral with it? Or I kind of add another one in there, or is it so neutral that we're collapsing, we're falling asleep, we're bored, whatever. So we can notice whatever's happening right now, whatever we're aware of, and how we're responding to it. If it's pleasant, we're usually drawn into it. If it's unpleasant, we're trying to get away from it. If it's neutral, we can either hang steady in it, stay steady, or if it's so neutral that it's boring, then we collapse. So that was what I was talking about. And the origin of that word, Vedana, Veda, and like in Hindu religion, there's the Rig Veda. Veda means to know. So it's getting to know our basic experience, kind of like our basic response of whatever the mind is aware of. So by this knowing of what's happening, without trying to categorize it as good or bad, but we actually just know, like really know, we sense it directly. Is it pleasant, or is it unpleasant, or is it just okay? That's the core of knowing, before we even add an emotion to it, like oh, it's pleasant, I want this, that's where the emotion comes in. Or if it's unpleasant, oh, need to get rid of, that's where the stronger emotion comes in. But that essential first point of being aware of how we're responding to it, if we can notice it, is really helpful, especially if we're with somebody that has an energy that maybe is a little aggressive and we feel, this wanting to get away from. If we can just notice, like, oh, unpleasant, instead of, the next step was like you either want to yell at them, leave me alone, or you want to run away. Just can we just stay steady with it and then kind of reground ourselves, just come into like, oh, it's like this, rather than judging it and characterizing somebody. I've been reading a book about basically the benefits of not really thinking we know what's going on. And that knowing usually is a judgment about, oh, this is boring, or this needs to be taken care of. But can we just be with that pure knowing of pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, before it evolves into a whole decision tree and emotions that usually carry us away. So this all sounds really theoretical, and it may or may not be something that you can notice even in this next meditation, but we'll play around with it a little bit. So seeing if you can just notice that essential quality to know, is it pleasant, what the mind is aware of right now, or is it unpleasant, or is it just kind of in the middle? And again, my fourth category is it so much in the middle that it's boring and it's time to fall asleep, or you're just collapsing into, whatever your energy level in your body is so absent that it just kind of pulls you down and there's no sensation at all. So we can play around with that and just see what the effect is. Can we know it, and can we just be with it, and notice, does it stay or does it keep moving? So we can play around with that, and enough of the theorizing, but let's see what happens in this. And if all of this talking about this has you all totally confused, and then just be with that. Like, confusion is like this. I know that it's unpleasant to feel confused about what I'm supposed to do, but I'll try to simplify it when we actually do the meditation. But this is what we're exploring. Or if not, you can just do whatever you want to do in the next meditation. So here we'll do another sit. So it's your chance to reground in your meditation posture, feeling the support of whatever you're being supported by. So feeling that groundedness, that support. From that, inviting the spine and the mind to be alert, but also relaxed. And again, closing the eyes if you're comfortable. If you find you're really sleepy, you may want to keep the eyes open. Or if you're just uncomfortable having the eyes closed, it's fine to have them open, but just have a soft gaze and not be looking around. And again, the bell will invite us to transition. So the sound of the bell is the invitation to let go of all the theorizing, the words, the concepts. What we're really doing in this training is to just notice what's happening right here, right now. So training the mind to be interested in our direct experience. So what is happening in this mind, this body, right here, right now? So we can notice the energy of the mind and the mood of the mind. Is it lost in all those words that came before? Or is it curious about where this is all going to go? Is it going to sleep in boredom because it's so quiet? Just the overall energy or mood of the mind. How is it? And the body, how's the body? Restless? Is it calm? Tense? Relaxed? Maybe there's a strong sensation somewhere, just noticing how it is. And then just letting all that go and just being present. And maybe the first thing we should do is set an intention in this meditation. It's always a good thing to, what is it we might want to investigate during this meditation? And what I would propose is the intention to notice changing sensations or thoughts, what's happening moment to moment, what the mind is aware of. So noticing them come and go and not holding on to them, just observing. So we'll notice, we set the intention to keep noticing this changing experience and notice, is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Is it just boring? What's the initial kind of core reaction to the feeling tone? So with that intention, bring the awareness. If you prefer, you could just be aware of the body breathing in, receiving energy, breathing out, letting go. You could be aware of that. Or you could go to the moment to moment sensations, sounds, thoughts coming and going. Just choose what your mind is comfortable staying with as a meditation object. And if nothing else, choose the breath. So just keep noticing what the mind's aware of moment to moment. Breathing in is like this. Breathing out is like this. A thought arising is like this. A sound, a body sensation. Noticing things coming or going. And noticing how that feels at its core level in the mind and the body. Is it pleasant? Unpleasant? In between? Moment to moment. Staying interested in each moment and how we experience it. So checking in to notice what the mind's aware of, how we're experiencing it, is pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, how that feels in the mind and the body. And then resetting the intention to just be with this changing experience, noticing its effect. And can we just stay in the middle and not get caught by it, not get pushed around by it, but just observe whatever it is. Blank, it's like this. It's like this. It's like this. Noticing what the mind's paying attention to, how that feels in the mind, pleasant or unpleasant, or just in the middle. And can we just be with that? Or is there something that we're caught on, that there's maybe a stronger emotion to, a liking or a not liking, wanting to do something about? Can we notice if we're pushed around? And not judging that, just notice that's a habit of the mind. And just reset the intention to just be with whatever's here. Notice, is it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? And let it move on, knowing something else will take its place. Moment to moment, it's just changing experience. A heartbeat, a breath, a sound, a thought, body sensation, even a strong body sensation will keep changing if we pay attention. It's not constant, it's moving too. So reset your intention to be with moment to moment experience, noticing pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Or if we get caught in something stronger, noticing that. What's the mind paying attention to? How does it feel? Is it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? In the mood of the mind and in the body, how does it feel? And can we just let it move or just be with it? Or are we being caught or pushed around by it in some way? Just noticing. It's like this. Whatever's happening, it's like this. And then resetting the intention to just be with each moment's experience, noticing what's happening, noticing how it feels in the mind and the body. What is the mind paying attention to in this moment? What's the general mood of the mind? Is it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? Maybe since we've been sitting for a while, there's something stronger going on. If it's really pleasant, maybe your meditation is going well and you feel relaxed and you want it to last forever, you can notice holding on to that idea. Or if you think it's going on too long and you're waiting for the bell, you can notice how unpleasant that is. How is it right now? Or maybe it's just this. Maybe it's moment to moment experience and you're comfortable just watching it. Whatever you're experiencing, can we notice what is it we're paying attention to? And what is the general feeling in this mind, in this body? Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, stress, no stress. It's the habit of the mind in meditation, maybe thinking back on during this exploration, is there an overall tendency that you saw in the mind? Maybe it's always wanting something else. Maybe it's always boredom. Maybe it's restlessness and you don't like that. That's unpleasant. Or maybe you didn't notice any trend. Maybe it's just this. Just reflecting a little bit on your experience. Noticing what brings ease to the mind, what causes more stress in the mind. And this way we get to know ourselves better. Veda, to know. This is part of our exploration. What's happening in this mind, in this body, right here, right now, moment to moment. This is our practice. So the bell invites us to bring our awareness back more to the broader sense of the body, into our surroundings. And whenever you're ready, you can bring the awareness back to being here together. Yeah, so again, you get a chance to reflect a little bit on your experience in that. And so this particular practice can be really helpful to take into our everyday life. Like just when you're standing there in the line at the grocery store, is it pleasant? Like, are you just watching people come and go, you know? So is it sort of pleasant watching people watching? Or is it unpleasant because you have somewhere to go and you're feeling like you need to be, you're leaning into it and you're wanting something else to happen, you know? So you can just notice, oh, pleasant, unpleasant, you know, or whatever is happening in life. But we can feel ourselves when we start to get pushed around by experience, or when are we just okay with the experience? And how does that feel in the mind and the body when we're just with it, whatever's happening, and not judging it, not making a big emotion out of it, but just, you know, noticing, even when it's really severely unpleasant, kind of be with it and then being calm enough to know, do I need to do something to change this? You know? So just the invitation to take this into your everyday life in whatever way seems helpful. And if none of it was helpful, let it go and do something else so it feels helpful.